Good morning, everyone. My name is Larry Jacobs, and this is Pre-K-12 Education Talk Radio on July 19th, 2023. A warm day here, even in Maine. I imagine our guest today, Tom Roderick, the author of a book called Teaching for Climate Justice, which has a lot of nuance to it. We're going to be talking about that with Tom. He's in New York. I bet you it's hot in New York today, too. We're going to ask him when I bring him on in just a couple of seconds. It's going to be a good show with Tom, and I'll give him the full introduction when I do. Let me just do my normal homework here. You're listening to Education Talk Radio, which is the voice of the American Consortium for Equity in Education. And you can see everything we do over at ace-ed.org, ace-ed.org. By the way, if you want to write me with some suggestions or anything like that, anything you want to talk about, please do so at larry@ace-ed.org. I welcome your comments and your thoughts and your ideas, et cetera, et cetera. All right, so it'd be really good if you want to do that. A lot of people do, so please don't hesitate to do it. Okay, over at ace-ed.org, where, by the way, everything is free over there. Please go over, check out our magazine, Equity and Access. It's an online journal. You will see the cover. Just click through and enjoy the issue. All of our podcasts, including this one, will be archived. This one will be archived over there. When we're finished, we have tons of other information, including our Excellence in Equity Awards, which is open to educators and companies and everybody dealing with equity out there. So if you'd like to participate, you can even nominate yourself if you want to. We're happy to look at it. Our independent judges will look at everything. Okay, please do so. It's free for educators. If you're involved with a company or anything, you may have to give us a little donation in order to get your name in there, etc. So check it all out under the awards icon at ace-ed.org. And then I will bring on Tom Roderick. Good morning, Tom. It's Larry here.
Good morning.
How are you?
Thank you for having me on the show.
Well, thank you for being here. And I want to read this because you've got a great background here. Tom Roderick, the author of Teaching for Climate Justice. That's what we're going to be talking about, but you'll have a couple of surprises as we talk about that. Tom Roderick is a teacher, writer, and education activist. He's based in magnificent New York City. How hot is it today, Tom?
It's hot and the air quality is poor.
Just ride the subways all day. That's simple. Okay? Stay out of it.
Right.
Okay? What can I tell you? And Tom retired from his job as the founding executive director of the nonprofit organization called Morningside Center for Teaching Responsibility. And Tom was the founding executive director for 36 years. And Tom, I'm sorry the job didn't work out. I didn't know it was going to be temporary. You probably didn't realize that. Right. Right. Congratulations on that, man. That's
Thank you.
That's good stuff. You know.
And it's the Morningside Center for Teaching Social.
Now, don't blame it. And it is social. And I knew that actually because I've been over on the website today. But on my cheat sheet, okay, they forgot the word social. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, so there you go. Thank you, Tom. And I'll get while I'm here, hold on. Let me just do this. It's morningsidecenter.org. That's going to be the easy way to get over there, morningsidecenter.org. And then you should get over there and take a look at it. Tom's going to tell us about that because what they do there relates to what his book is about. All right? It's really important stuff. And a lot of it, this is why I'm saying there's a lot of nuance to it. We're talking about climate. We're talking about social justice. Right? And those two things are inexorably linked, okay? And we're also talking about social emotional learning to get the right mindset. We're big fans of SEL. To get the right mindset to make this work for everybody. And it's subtitled, the book, A Vision for Transforming Education. It's from Harvard Education Press. I'm sorry you couldn't get a good school to publish it. Right. Harvard, everybody. Okay, I'm in Maine, by the way, so not too far from Harvard Education Press. Okay, and Tom, let's talk about that. The Morningside Center, okay, really believes in social responsibility, and it believes in the importance of social emotional learning. And I'm just going to let you kind of start there. And how'd you get into the climate side of it, which I don't know if you noticed this, Tom, in the audience, it's a major issue this summer. I don't know if anybody's perhaps noticed it. Okay.
I hope so.
Yeah, oh my God. Phoenix, by the way, we're doing this on the show. Phoenix just topped 114 or something for 19 straight days, and they haven't been under 90, okay, for that long, even at night. Okay, I feel so bad. I feel really bad for the firemen and the EMTs and all that. Can you imagine fighting a fire and this kind of thing? All right, and I'm sure the firemen out there, firefighters have to do it. Okay, and it's just, well, you know, there's changes out there. Europe's in a heat wave. I don't have to tell everybody what's going on. Florida, et cetera, et cetera. So put together this is like the ultimate question here. Put together the SEL, the social responsibility, the social justice, and the climate. And again, the book is called Teach for Climate Justice. Okay? Go ahead, Tom. You're on. Tom Roderick, everybody. Mm-hmm. Okay? It's a big order, but I know you can do it. Go ahead.
I'll give it a shot. Well, climate justice is a beautiful vision for the future, right? In a world of climate justice, human activity has come back into harmony with nature, and human well-being is a reality not just for some, but for all. And in order to achieve climate justice, and that's what we have to do in this 21st century, we don't really have a choice. In order to achieve climate justice, we have to turn away from the economic, political, and social systems that are destroying the environment and leading to rampant inequality. And
if I may, I'm just going to. Last night I was watching the PBS NewsHour. All right, and there was a big article about it's just dawned on me as you were talking. You know, the Indian tribes who share the Colorado River, and they aren't getting exactly their equal share, so to speak. All right, the Indian on the federal reservations, I might add. Okay, and that's just U.S. And then I want to carry what you just said a minute ago. You're talking, I think, about worldwide. I think of the folks in Bangladesh, the various Pacific islands that are Indian Ocean islands that are heading underwater. Okay, it goes on in the fires in Australia. I mean, we can go on and on and on about what's happening out there. Okay, and are you thinking worldwide or are you thinking national, Mr. New York? What do you think, Tom? What's going on?
Definitely thinking worldwide. And of course, the United States has a big influence worldwide. So, you know, the United States as well, but definitely worldwide. And to accomplish as I said, we're going to be. It's going to be necessary to move away and turn away from the political economic systems that are destroying the environment and creating inequality, and embrace new ways of living together that are friendly to people and the planet. And climate activist Joanna Macy calls that the Great Turning. And to accomplish the Great Turning is the calling of our time. It's the adventure of our lives as people living in the 21st century.
Wow.
And educators have a pivotal role to play in that process, in bringing about the Great Turning. You know, all of the young people and children in school now and for the foreseeable future, their lives will be shaped by the climate and the inequality crises. And they will be called, in turn, to shape the world they're growing into. And as educators, we need to prepare them for that. There's no more important thing for educators to be doing.
And how do we prepare educators? This is what your book's about, educators, to do that. And I agree with you how important education is and how, and I agree with you how it must change. Okay, but and you're doing a good job at it, by the way, with your book, etc. But somebody has to, some district somewhere, somebody has to make a difference in the way we teach educators. We say they have to do this, okay? But how do we teach them to do it? I mean, no, who can do it? Help me, Tom.
Yes, well, the book is intended to provide a vision and a pathway forward
works
for educators. It's not a curriculum. It's not one more thing for teachers and educators to do. It's the first to offer a comprehensive vision of what education needs to be climate crisis.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's great.
The idea is to guide and inspire educators to develop curricula, provide professional development, and do teaching and learning in the classroom that is truly radical and transformative, that is truly going to make a difference. And
it's relevant to what we need now, basically. Yeah,
yes,
that's going to make
that's
it.
right. And
go ahead.
And I think one basis for my, I mean, something that grows out of my career and the link to Morningside Center is that over the years, Morningside Center was founded by educators concerned about the danger of nuclear war back in the early 80s.
Wow.
And our work evolved from nuclear age education to teaching peacemaking skills, to teaching how to resolve conflict creatively, to social emotional learning, to racial equity over those 36 years that I was there. And all through that, what we were doing was partnering with schools to implement research-based programs. And social emotional learning is a foundation, as you pointed out earlier, for this vision, because kids need to have skills in understanding and managing feelings, in dealing well with conflict and working with others, and that provides a basis for addressing the challenging reality, the climate and inequality crises. But we have a long way to go. My sense is that teachers need to, it's difficult these days for teachers to provide great education of any kind in their classrooms because of the standardized testing, budget cuts, the pandemic was tremendously disruptive, and kids
the political climate. The political climate.
The attacks on teachers just for doing their jobs, right? And so teachers need to organize. Teachers need to organize in the best sense of that word, which is that teachers who believe in climate justice and are doing it in their classrooms need to talk with and listen to other educators and develop solidarity and work with their unions, to fight for the freedom and the resources to do great education. And great education these days means, at its heart, teaching for climate justice.
They talk a lot, and you certainly know this, Tom, about STEM education, science, technology, engineering, math. And for some reason, and I'm an old social studies teacher, this is why I think this way, they leave social studies out of there, okay? And the reason they leave social studies out of there is because somebody along the line forgot to see that everything you do in science and technology and engineering affects society. Okay, you don't do it for fun. You do it because society needs it. Okay, so all the emphasis on STEM has to be related back to why this is important, if I may, the political ethics, so to speak, of any given discipline. All right, well, how does it relate back? Okay, they don't practice medicine so they can cure a disease that nobody cares about. They cure a disease that everybody cares about. That's what medicine's about. That's what science needs to be about. You know, it's that simple. And by the way, we're in total agreement here. Okay, we have got if we haven't learned it this summer, we're going to, well, we got a few years left to learn it even more. Okay, but you know, the climate thing is the number one issue. When everybody talks about STEM and everybody talks about, oh, we need this and this and this in social studies. Okay, it can be put together in an interdisciplinary approach. Okay, where we break down the barriers, and this is what we need to do. Okay, and I want to ask you one other thing, though. We talk about climate justice. When you use the word justice, what are you referring to in there? Are you talking about, and I know this was an important part of what you've done all these years, you know, it's social justice. And I do know for a fact that a lot of kids who live in poverty have no idea what's going on in the rest of the world with all this. They're just assuming it's just a hot day. Okay, when you look at it from your point of view, put social justice into the mix.
Mm-hmm. You know, why climate justice? You know, because low-income people of color tend to live in areas where, you know, near refineries and so on, where the air is never very good, right? And to drink water and this is true around the world, you know, 2 billion people around the world don't have clean water to drink. And, of course, those are poor people, low-income people, right? And so it's that's why I put these two crises together, and their sources are the same. Going back to what you were saying about social studies, you know, one of the teachers, I in this book, I feature educators from around the country who are doing outstanding work in teaching for climate justice. You know, some 20 outstanding educators. Well, one of them said that an organization he's part of held a conference, and it was on the climate. And the teachers who came, 15 of them were science teachers, and he was the only social studies teacher.
There you go.
Well, we absolutely have to, you know, my vision for climate justice education is about how all subject areas, and especially social studies with the history, the politics, economics of the climate emergency, but also, you know, I have elementary school teachers getting their kids out into nature, building a caring classroom community. Kids at all ages can experience various aspects of this vision over the time that they're in school. You know, the 14 years they have from pre-K to 12th grade, in ways appropriate to their ages. You know, so the older kids really need to look deeply at the causes of the climate crisis. And we know it has to do with fossil fuel interests and big money. They have to understand that, right? The younger kids need to develop their love and understanding of nature. They're caring about, and kids of all ages, they're creating an equitable school environment where everybody's treated with respect. It all comes together in that way over the time they're in school.
Yeah, and you know, it's interesting. Just this weekend, we had friends visiting, and their grandson in Yonkers. Okay, Yonkers, you know Yonkers. Okay, and he's going to go to a preschool that is 100. I did a double take when I heard this. 100% outside. Okay,
even that's great.
Even in winter, I guess I have shelter when the snow hits or the rain or whatever. But it's or maybe a 10, I don't know. But it's 100% outside. It just reminded me of that. As you were talking here, people are trying, but a little preschool in Yonkers will make a difference for a few kids, but those kids will probably go to public school. Okay, and get lost in the larger curriculum, if I may, like everybody kind of does. Okay, and you talked just now. You said there were a whole 20 teachers or whatever you just said. Okay, science teachers and one social studies teacher who got together. Okay, what are those? When you met them and talked to them, etc., what were those teachers teaching, and how did they do it, and what grades were they? I mean, I know that how they managed to get it in there. Okay, and again, science and social studies. All right, it can be done in math and English too, by the way. Okay, just break down the barriers. Yeah, but how did they do it? How did they get it started? What's the reaction in their school districts? I don't know whether you can answer all that, but I'm just curious. Some people are trying to do it.
Just to be clear, the conference that Bayard went to was with an organization he was part of. The people I interviewed are different people from around the country teaching elementary, middle, and high school grades. And I interviewed them.
Well, talk about your teachers then. Talk about your teachers, the ones you talked to.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I featured them because they were doing great work in climate justice education. So, and so I put them out as examples. I mean, just as one example, there's a Megan who teaches at a small school in the Adirondacks.
Mm-hmm.
She leads her 5th and 6th graders, and actually they teamed up with 3rd grade as well, to do a year-long study of the Lake Champlain watershed, which is where their school is located.
How beautiful up there.
On 25 field trips there was Beaver Pond, there was a fast-moving stream near the school, there was the Osabel River, and so they went and they spent time in those environments. They did what she called event maps of what they observed, what they saw, and then they visited a great museum, the Echo Museum, that calls itself a seriously fun museum, and they learned about the history of the area, the indigenous people who lived there for 8,000 years before the settlers came, and so on, and the kids, even as stewards for the environment, they recognized there was a problem with dog poop, right? And so they went to the city council of Keene, the town, right, and got the town to agree to set up dog mess stations. They said, this can get into the river, it can get into
the kids.
Into the lake, right? And so they took action in that way. They also took so they dealt with the issue of dog poop. They also took part in World Climate Day, World Water Day. World Water Day, and they had a guest speaker come who is with an organization that digs wells for people. And they read a children's book about a girl who can't go to school because she has to spend the day trekking to a place to get water and bring it back to her family. That's in the South Sudan. So that's the kind of teaching that the book describes, and taking on a very important issue of water and
absolutely.
Justice.
Absolutely. And once we get that, and Megan's a good, terrific teacher from what you're saying, but it has to be on a continuum. Kids are experiencing this. Okay, people are experiencing this heat. Okay, and I assume you were probably around Essex, New York, or something. Okay, on Lake Champlain on the New York side, and things are pretty good up there right now. Okay, but it could change any minute. I mean, I just want to talk about this. Here in Maine, I know the world is burning up. We're not, and we've had a lot of rainy days, which far more than usual. Okay, but not flooding, just a lot of rain. Okay, and so up here, we're not, unless they're reading about it or watching the news, they're not experiencing this right now. Okay, but they have to understand it's coming your way. Okay, this is important stuff, and I'll tell you something else. All these things we're talking about, climate justice, okay, social justice, SEL, it's all interdisciplinary, okay, and it can be a continuum from pre-K-12 will make all the difference in the world, okay? It's that simple. And Tom, let me ask you this before we wind down here. Where in a given school district, a big giant one like New York, okay, or the one in Essex, New York, or wherever that was up on Lake Champlain, okay, where do you want this to start? Does it start, and this is an interesting question, the superintendent, the school board, who needs to be influenced about this? In your opinion, where would you start?
Well, I'm advocating for starting in two places, right? So take New Jersey, for example. The Tammy Murphy, the wife of Governor Murphy of New Jersey.
Oh, okay.
She took it on as her mission to build climate education into the standards for all subjects, for all grades.
That's pretty impressive.
In New Jersey. That's right. And I think, Tammy and the teachers of New Jersey will benefit from my book because I think I address the justice issues strongly and other issues that are important to deepen the quality of climate education. But that's a great move forward. That it's part of the standards, right?
That's pretty good.
That's
great.
Saying, a lot of professional development needs to happen to make that great. Now, I'm also advocating for teachers who are doing radical, transformative climate justice education, like the ones I feature in my book. That I'm advocating that they organize at the grassroots level, shall we say, to increase the support from the classroom up.
You need to start an association, Tom. You need to start a Educators for Social Justice Association.
Well, yes,
get people going.
I have I'm just about to launch a website that will provide support for that larger project. I see the book as a starting point, as a vision, as a path forward.
That's fabulous.
Then people are going to need to organize at the school level, organize in the sense that they're really having deep conversations with other people there and building solidarity for a radical transformative vision. In other words, a vision that could actually make a difference, and that then New Jersey is leading the way in terms of, in a sense, top down. I'm hoping the educators like the ones I feature in the book can build a bottom up movement that can meet, right? So I think both things need to happen. It's not going to happen top down, and it's not going to happen only bottom up, but the two need to go together.
Yeah, and I'll tell you the truth. You're on the right track here without question, and it is so timely. Okay, I mean, everybody is experiencing this, so it's hard to, the time has come, so to speak. When are you going to open that website? Do you have any idea?
Actually, later this morning, I'm meeting with the person who's designing it for me, and it could launch within the next week.
When you get that settled, when you get that settled, write me an email. You have my email, right? Larry@ace-ed.org. Okay, let me know, because we will give it some publicity and all that sort of stuff. We have a magazine, we have the podcast, we got a lot of ways to help you out, and we can, after a few months, we can bring you back on and you can talk about that side of it. I think it's very important.
Great.
Okay, Tom,
thank
this was
you.
fun and important, so I thank you, kind sir. Okay.
Yes, thank you so much, Larry.
Good stuff. Oh, my pleasure. Are you kidding me? It's nice to know you. All right. So enjoy New York today. Okay, good old New York. I'm originally from Philadelphia, so I put mustard on my soft pretzels, and that's the basic difference. Okay. Tom, thanks a million. I really appreciate it. And I'll keep plugging it here. I got it linked on the site, etc. Thank you, Tom. Thanks.
Take care. Right. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye. What a good guy. Okay, that's Tom Roderick. Tom's book, all right, is Teach for Climate Justice, A Vision for Transforming Education. I have it linked. It is from Harvard Education Press, and this is Tom Roderick. Okay, good stuff. I got to tell you, and see, that association idea, we need something like this because, wow, things are tough out there. Just ask the good folks in Phoenix. All right, and Arizona and those other places where it's hot as heck, and Texas is another example. All right, we'll archive over at ace-ed.org. If you want to get in touch with me, do so at larry@ace-ed.org. Thank you so much for listening. See all we do. And Tom Roderick, good luck with the book. Thanks a million.